Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parshas Chukas Balak in America, Parshas Balak in Eretz Yisrael. We're almost completely together. Enough so that I could speak about one parsha, and I'm speaking about both in Eretz Yisrael and in America. So we're about to feel the Achdus once again next week as we hit Parshas Pinchas, and we are into 3 weeks. It's good that we have that togetherness between Eretz Yisrael and America. Take a look at this week's parsha. In Parshas Balak, there's so many amazing things, but there's something like really stands out. That if you look, you'll see that there are no breaks in the parsha. The parsha starts, the parsha goes through until the last story, and there's no breaks. Usually in the Torah, there's things called psuchos and sumas, different types of breaks. If you look in the Torah, you see like paragraphs. Some of the paragraphs end in the middle of a line, and then there's a space, and then the next paragraph starts. Some of them end, and then it's blank all the way through until the end, and then the next paragraph starts on the next line. But it's called psuchas and stumas, different types of breaks, and every parsha has psuchas and stumas. There's one or two places in the Torah where you don't have that, but it's in almost every single parsha. And in here, there isn't any breaks, and you have to wonder: there's got to be some message. Why are there no breaks in this parsha? You also have to wonder about Bilam, that how is it possible that he was a very consistent person, started off his career in a certain way in Mitzrayim, and ended off his career really in a certain way. He had a certain hatred to the Jews, and ultimately, of course, to God and to truth. And he started that way and he ended that way. And there was no break. There was no break in between. He didn't mature. He didn't grow out of it. You would think that after everything that happened to him, by the time the end came, and he would have said, "Well, now I can really get the Jewish people. Try to curse them, I couldn't curse them. I blessed them every time." I think game over. And he comes up with another idea of how to get them and to make them vulnerable and to destroy a lot of Jews. He was right, right there all the way through with that hatred. How could that be? How could that be that he could have a conversation with a donkey and not look at it and go, "I think God's trying to tell me something," and rather he has this like normal conversation with his donkey? It's just there's too many oddities here that are going on, too many crazy things happening in his lifetime, and he's not getting any messages. How's that possible? That he's not moved by anything? So let's go back to Mitzrayim, because we met this guy in Mitzrayim, and we met him under another name, and the other name that we met him under was Asher Lo Sam Libo Lidvar Hashem. Let me explain. See, one of the plagues, when the Egyptians were looking at it, they were going, "Whoa, this is crazy. We got to get our stuff out of here because it's going to all get destroyed." So the Torah describes Asher Yori as Dvar Hashem, those that were afraid, that feared God, that had an awe of God. So then they moved all their stuff inside. And Asher Lo Sam Libo, the people that didn't pay attention, they were the ones that didn't move their stuff inside, and then it got destroyed during the next plague. The commentaries tell us, identify who's the Asher Lo Sam Libo? Bilam. Because that was Bilam's problem. That was his consistent problem from the very beginning of his lifetime. His problem was he didn't pay attention. Because what's the opposite of fearing God? The opposite of fearing God is not those who don't fear God. It's those who pay attention in life. Because you pay attention in life, and you see things that are going, you realize, well, God is right here. It's right next to me. But if you're not paying any attention, then you don't see God, you don't see specialness, you don't see incredible things, you don't see messages, you don't see anything. It's just a talking donkey and a bunch of failed attempts to try to wipe out the Jewish people, but you just keep going and try it again. Because there's you're not watching. What the whole purpose of the breaks in the Torah? That when God taught Moshe a section of the Torah, he told him, "Okay, take a break. Think. Assimilate. Process. Let it go through. Now that you're done, move on. Give you the next section of the Torah." The whole purpose of psuchas and stumas is to show us that Moshe Rabbeinu processed and thought and considered what was going on. And maybe that's the whole reason why it was left out here. to let us know, why is Bilam different than Moshe? Why is Bilam different than us? What's the danger that we could fall into and we could become one of Bilam's people and leave Moshe, Avram, all of our greats in the dust? It's all about paying attention. Talmud tells us that if a person takes big steps, runs, then they lose 1/500th of their eyesight. And the way to fix it is by looking in Kiddush and Havdalah, looking into the wine. Really? Maybe that's the reason I don't jog. If you run, you lose 1/500th of your eyesight. But the Talmud means that if you run through life, you don't stop and smell the roses, you don't stop and think, you don't stop and consider. So then you know what happens? You lose your eyesight. You don't see anything. It's whizzing by too fast without you stopping to think about it. You know what the remedy to that is? Shabbos. Stop and think. Consider. Don't just fresh that chicken and chill it. Stop and think. Think about who you are, what you are, where you're going, what's going on in life. Consider. Because when you stop to think, when you stop to reflect, you will see such amazing things around you, in you, that you are living through and that you're living with. Bilam was an Asher Lo Samli. Bilam didn't pay any attention. Comes along with torah, leaves out any of the stops to remind us, don't be like Bilam. Stop. Smell the flowers. Think. And your eyesight will be restored. And you'll be able to see all the brachas around you. Have a beautiful, amazing, and wonderful Shabbos.